Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. Oh, goodness gracious. We have some good stuff, but do you guys remember these tabloids and what was said? Remember this? Remember the interview? My friend said, oh, no matter how wonderful he is, the tabloids will ruin your life. And she was like, tabloids? We don't have that in the United States. I'm not in tabloids. Right. We don't have tabloids. Uh-huh. Okay, you guys. By the way, this is the one that's supposed to be coming out next week. All right, let's jump in, shall we? A lot to cover. Let's go. We're going to start off with Edward. Remember I showed you that he went to the Interflex training grounds and he met with some of the Ukrainian people that were there training? Well, this time last Friday, as the honorary air commodore, he went to the Royal Air Force in Waddington. While he was there, he saw the Vulcan XM607, which had been restored. He met several of the original air crew for that team and the team that restored the aircraft. Very cool. Also, while he was there, Edward is now wearing King Charles's royal cipher on his shoulder. Thank you to Marianne for this photo. Moving on. Sticking with Edward, the executive director of Cosmopolitan Arts, her name is Amanda Leandro. I hope I'm saying that correctly. She was invited to meet Prince Edward at the African Caribbean Center in Leicester, I think it's pronounced. The center works with young people. All right, moving on. Next up, we have His Highness the Duke of Gloucester, who opened the Amble Boardwalk Sculptural Trail. He was joined there by the Duchess of Northumberland. They met the High Sheriff of Northumberland, and then he met a bunch of trustees, and then they went to see some of the sculptures. It's apparently there's this one sculpture, it's called an immersive intention with the sphere sculpture, and the Duke was actually able to step inside of it and heard more about the sculpture, how it was made. And then they went to something called the Birdsong Sculpture, where they were greeted by some children from Amble Links, which I think is very nice. He gave a short speech, and yeah. All right, next up. The Duke of Gloucester went to the Ulm Valley Railway to give them recognition. He unveiled a plaque. Looks like, I love him. And, again, older, but doing his job. Love it. Next up, King Charles started a biodiverse garden at Sandringham, and they're saying after 4 months that it's just about complete. Apparently, it was inspired by a garden he saw as a child. There's some symmetrical beds laid out, some trees. They dug up an acre, and they've also laid out metal edging for the new beds. It's supposed to be fabulous. Sticking with King Charles, while he was in Pickering, apparently a fan literally fainted in the heat. The woman fell through the barrier right in front of King Charles. Apparently, the Scotland Yard protection officers, his equerry, moved to help her. Then the police stepped in. He was, making sure that she was okay. I think that's lovely. All right, moving on. All right, still sticking with Charles. Apparently, for the Trooping the Color, this is his first Trooping the Color debut as king. He is going to be on horseback. The last person who did that was his mother 30 years before that. He is going to take the salute as Colonel-in-Chief of the 7 regiments of the Household Division at the birthday parade on Horse Guards Parade on Saturday the 17th. Now that parade is going to go from Buckingham Palace down the Mall to Horse Guards Parade. There, the king will be greeted by the royal salute. He'll do an inspection. Then he'll be joined by Queen Camilla and members of the royal family like Prince William to view the 1st Battalion Welsh Guards Troop, their color. Yeah, Charles on horseback. I love it. Now, after that, everybody will go back to the palace. We know how that works. There'll be a fly pass. He'll be out on the balcony. Yeah, this has been a thing that they've done for 260 years. I think it's pretty cool. Now, I really loved reading about this. Thank you for this information. Apparently, the Duke of Edinburgh is going to ride with the siblings for the first time as Colonel of the London Guards. I love it. All right, moving on. Now, for those of you who are interested, this fabulous article came out that's basically everything that you need to know. It talks about how it goes back to the year 1760. It talks about that it's held on a Saturday in June, but the date is not fixed. It's actually, the monarchs have 2 birthdays, one that is marked by Trooping the Color. And at Trooping the Color, there's over 1,400 parading soldiers, 200 horses, and 400 musicians. Thousands of people head to the mall to catch a glimpse of the parade. And they're saying that the people that you will see on the balcony are going to be senior members of the royal family and working members. You wouldn't see like Prince Andrew or Beatrice or Eugenie or Harry, for that matter. And they're saying that the Trooping the Color starts at 10 a.m. on Saturday, June 19th, and it goes for about 2 hours. And then there's a fly pass. So you can watch it on TV. It's fabulous. All right, moving on. We're going on to Prince William now. He went to a new development done by a place called Centre Point. It's Reuben House. It's a development in Peckham, South London. This is a new way to help young people out of homelessness. William has been patron of Centre Point since 2005. We all know that supporting the homeless population is a big thing for him, and he went to the unveiling of these new pods that were put in place for young working people. Now, the design of the building, they're modular, and so they're saying that this is a really inexpensive way to get affordable living. It costs much less than a regular build, and it reduces construction time in half. Amazing. The lady in the white dress on the left is the head of the program, and she said, quote, that this is the most exciting and innovative program she's ever seen with tangible results that will transform a young person's life. Fabulous. The modules were built in a place called Hull and then brought in. Now they're saying it's so difficult for young people to get apartments in London. It's too expensive. And they're saying there's over 129,000 homeless people across the UK. These are people that work, but they can't afford the apartments. I think it's very nice that these young people that want to work, that they have a place to live. You know what I'm saying? I can't imagine working and not being able to pay rent. But I'm glad that this is coming to fruition, and we know how big William is on the whole homeless issue. I think that's fabulous. All right, moving on. All right, moving on to Harry. I guess maybe he thought that because he worked for Netflix, there are some things that they would leave alone. But no, looks like Prince Harry's Nazi costume scandal is going to make it into the next season of The Crown. Oh my goodness. Now, you have to wonder how they're going to spin this, because let's not forget, Harry never takes responsibility for anything that goes on in his life. And we already know that he has blamed the fact that he wore this Nazi uniform on William, saying that William should have stopped him from wearing it. Well, that of course doesn't count out the other things. I've done previous videos before where I've told you that he's made horrible racist comments. There was one comment he made to a comedian. He made a comment to somebody when he told people that Chelsea came from, Africa. Well, she's not black, that he called some of his fellow comrades packy heads. Yeah, there is a racist in the family. All right, next up, Harry finally popped up. And where did he pop up? He popped up watching the Warrior Games. Now, the Warrior Games are where he stole his idea for the Invictus Games. For those of you who are saying, no, he didn't, he admitted in an interview that he did, and that's where the idea came from. He sat around with family members who had people competing in seated volleyball. You know, have you guys ever noticed that? First of all, what did I tell you guys? He's by himself. No children, no wife. If he's going to do something, she's not there. She's never there to support him. Now, if she can go and model $500,000 worth of clothing, she'll be there. But I love what Royal Wales put. This guy, the way he's looking at Harry, I don't think everybody was super impressed with him or his presence there. I personally, I don't think he should be there. I'm sorry, that's just my personal opinion. I think it's almost like he's looking for good PR. I agree with Harry's gray suit. He's turned the Invictus Games into a celebrity scam show, and he's thrown everybody under the bus. I agree. I'm shocked that the U.S. Army put up this tweet. He's sitting with Army member Master Sergeant Michael Haley and his parents, and also to his left is General Charles Brown, the next Joint Chief of Staff. Oh, how did that happen? So Harry's having possibly some visa problems, and suddenly he's sitting next to people from the Department of Defense. Anybody else find that even remotely interesting? Because I do. And thank you to HRH Princess Riley for these photos. Now, I have to say I agree with Taz here. He needs positive PR. He's got that and the Diana card. I think he's a disgrace to the military. I agree. I also agree with Robin Lynn. Never brings Archie. Like, why wouldn't you bring your son to watch that? Let's not forget that a district judge ordered the Department of Homeland Security to either give the request, do the Freedom of Information request and hand it over, or give their final response as to why they will not release the records. Now, if the Biden administration says we're not going to release those records, then a federal judge can decide whether or not they should be released. And if a federal judge says that they're going to be released, then they will be. I'll keep an eye on this story for you. Now, talking about the Invictus Games, people are saying that the games have been canceled and that it's Meghan Markle's fault because she had a $500,000 wardrobe that apparently came from them. Now, they did say it was coming this summer. We are now in the middle of June. We have heard nothing from Netflix about when it's going to air, which is why people are beginning to believe it's canceled. Well, this is what they originally put up, that it was the new series and it was all about the competitors and it was going to take place over the summer. And of course, Harry's the executive producer. Now we are in the middle of June and the next one is going to take place in September. And they haven't even aired the one from last year. We all heard they had to recut a bit of it because it became the Markle show. But I guess my point is people think that the Heart of Invictus at Netflix has been canceled because it hasn't aired and they're not even advertising it. All right, moving on. We are going back now to the bike thing that's going on. Remember, they gave a free bike to a multimillionaire's child, and now they want donations to buy the bikes for the needy children. The saga, yes, it just continues to go on. But let me tell you who's caught part of this. The Sussex Squad. Believe it or not, I think they figured out that something else is going on here, because a lot of them are making comments now that maybe they don't believe the bike shop. Boom, the brazen hussy pointed out that this is not a poor company who wants to do nice things. They're courting the publicity. They planned on getting the Sussex name attached to their store, and that Harry and Meghan didn't mention them one time. They wanted this, and you guys are trying to save them? Good point. She's pointing out that they want money because their own attempt at marketing to the Sussexes blew up in their face. Well, you know what? It's nice to know that some people have a brain. Even Dr. Zane put in one good thing about the Sussex Squad. They're going to investigate. I mean, I'm glad that other people have seen what we saw. I agree with Sunshine Breeze. It's Scamgate. Scamgate, I'm telling you. The bicycle. All right. I'm going to keep an eye on this. I'll let you know if anything else happens. All right, we're sliding into the end here. Do you guys remember last May when Harry played polo and Megan stepped up on the stage? You can see here, and she was handing out these boxes. She handed like one of these small boxes to each of the players. Do you guys remember that? So why are we talking about this incident? We all know what happened. Why are we talking about this again? Well, because articles have come out that said Megan wasn't supposed to be on stage. So that we all remember what happened, but let's just look at it again really quickly, shall we? So here we go. Again, she's going over the stage. She's handing out those little boxes. I'm not sure what that was about, but okay. She goes up to Harry, she gives him a kiss, she leaves some lipstick on him, and then she wipes it off like he's a small child. Now at that point, she's probably supposed to get off the stage, but instead they push her over for the pictures. Now, realizing this may be a really big moment, she grabs the young kid. If you notice, she grabs his box and tries to pull it up. Hold it up here, we need it up for the photo. He's just like, whatever. And before you know it, she's caught in this extremely embarrassing situation. And I always wondered about this. Why were they holding up the trophy? They didn't win. This was done for nothing but Netflix content. They had not won that day. I did a whole video on it. What was embarrassing was what happened afterwards. Look at Harry's face. He looks a little bit upset. Megan's just like, come on, Harry. I mean, his mask slips when they're not paying attention. She takes his hand like he's 2 years old. She leads him off the stage. She leads him across the grass. She's like leading him around like through the, by the nose, like he's a child. This is when I think she realizes she might be having her Audrey Hepburn moment. She's playing with the hair, playing with the glasses. Look at me, trying to get these pictures. We've covered all this. That's all this was. This wasn't for him. This was for her. But at least now we know how that whole embarrassing situation happened. It was unplanned because she wasn't supposed to be there. All right. Personally, I think they both still wish to some degree that they were in the royal family being treated like this. But that ain't happening anymore. So, you guys know what I want. Leave those comments, especially about what you think Harry was doing with the Wounded Warriors and with the Department of Defense. I'd love to know your thoughts on that. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that bell. If you've already hit the button, double check, make sure you're still subscribed. Don't forget to go into the description box and get the links for my Twitter, my Getter, my Rumble, my email, my physical address in case there's something you want to send. To those of you who've donated to my coffee fund and through the thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.